Welcome home! I'm just kidding, this is one of my clients' homes. Come on in. What I want to do is actually start in the mudroom because that's the entrance that they use quite often, and you'll quickly see it has a very dramatic and dynamic look. So let's take a look. Mudrooms have a lot of similarities to powder rooms where they kind of are a first impression room for a lot of your guests. This is the entrance that tends to be used more often just because of the practicality of the space. So we opted for a very dramatic, dynamic color. The doors, however, are a little bit darker. You can see that there actually is a very slight difference, and that's because these are black. So we used black beauty on all the doors throughout the home. There is a difference in sheen. You have a matte finish on the walls and then a satin finish on the trim. It's that skip a finish rule we were talking about where if you're going with a flat finish or a matte finish on the walls, don't go eggshell for your trim or semi-gloss, which is gonna be too much of a difference in sheen. You skip eggshell and you go to pearl/satin. So that's what we decided to go here and throughout the entire home. So here we're in the meat of the house. This is the main hallway, the main front foyer, and immediately you can see that drastic difference in color. Now we go from a dynamic dark black theme to this beautiful, welcoming, warm white. This, of course, is cloud white. We have cloud white on the walls, on all of this sort of beautiful wainscoting and woodwork, on the ceilings and the crown molding as well, and the baseboards. So we're enveloping the entire space in one of the quintessential, beautiful, welcoming, warm whites. It's definitely a lot more warm than even a Simply White or a Chantilly Lace, which are also quite popular. But Cloud White just gives you that welcoming, cozy, comfortable, yet still modern feel, especially when you use it to this degree. The Cloud White actually continues into the dining room, but only in the form of the trim, crown molding, and ceilings. We now have a beautiful accent color in here, but not an accent wall. This ends up being an entire accent room. The dining room is painted with Brewster Gray, which is a beautiful mid-tone, dusty teal color. It combines blue, green, and gray, and it's really, really balanced. The gray isn't as prominent, especially when you pair it with the warmer trim, but what's nice is they end up complementing one another. So the trim doesn't look overly creamy, and the walls don't look overly green. It's all balanced really, really well. Before we go right into the kitchen, you guys are gonna have to wait just a second. I wanna show you the pantry, which is actually really, really cool. I do not have a pantry myself, so this is really nice. I didn't really do much in here because it all was kind of as is. But what I did wanna bring to your attention was this door. Now, of course, black beauty, same color as all the other doors, but as you can see, it's not your traditional door. And that's because this is the original front door of this house that was brought inside and repurposed in this beautiful, beautiful pantry. What I love about it is it really shows the character of the house, because as you can see, it's a very contemporary, beautiful, modern home, yet we're still able to retain some of these charming, charming features that were on the original. This actually is a heritage house, which means it's a historical building, and by doing this, it's just such a great way of preserving the character, for lack of a better term, of the house. Love it. So here is the family room and kitchen. I mean, quite a beautiful zone, if I do say so myself. As you might notice, we have a lot of off-white in the kitchen, and that's because there's the continuation of cloud white onto the cabinets, onto the ceiling and molding, baseboards, but you will also notice a gray color that has sort of emerged, and that color is called whitestone. This was a really, really interesting choice that my clients and I sort of discussed. And what we decided was by opting for something that is a little on the cool side, it creates a really interesting interaction with not only the warm cloud white throughout, but also these beautiful oak floors that do have a lot of warmth to them. They're not just engineered hardwood, gray wood floor. The more natural looking wood really adds to the character of the house and keeps it feeling alive rather than just a complete gut and just gray everywhere. It's a really nice juxtaposition of the modern cool gray touches, the beautiful chrome fixtures, but still some of that traditional comforting home feel that I really enjoy. And also the gray works really nice with this massive countertop. It really plays into the beautiful marbling inside. So everything is really working together here. And I just love that you're able to incorporate cool and warm, modern and traditional. It's all a nice balancing act that turned out really well. So we already talked about the mudroom, which is a great accent piece. The powder room is also a place where you want to flaunt your design touch a little bit. And on the walls, it's actually a pretty neutral color. One of my favorites personally, classic gray, you gotta love it. Cloud white continuing onto the trim. But where's the accent? Well, you gotta look down on the floor. Look at this beautiful, beautiful pattern tile and my beautiful socks as well too. That's the wonderful thing about design. When you want something to pop, you don't necessarily need to do it with your walls. What classic gray ends up accomplishing here is it becomes a really nice neutral canvas, kind of like an artist canvas. And then you're able to then display these beautiful photographs, the bit of greenery, this lovely dark black contrasted mirror frame, which really ties into the doors as well. And then to finish it all off, you have this amazing flooring. I love these pattern floors. This becomes the accent of the room, which really is so much fun and actually quite comfortable. They're very smooth tiles. I really like how they feel on my toesies. And as you can see, we have Black Beauty again on all the doors. This is a great color because some black paints can have a tendency to shift towards blue. Not this one. This one's really great. Very dark, under 4 LRV, so it's pretty close to black, but kind of accomplishes exactly what you want in a good black paint color. So this hallway section is quite tall. This is a historical home. It has a lot of really nice high ceilings, and that's even more accentuated from this woodwork and this wainscoting. As you can see, it goes all the way up and it just draws your eyes up to this beautiful cloud white area. Makes you feel like you're floating on a cloud. It's just so open and airy. Love it. So we got cloud white continuing all the way up, cloud white everywhere. The safety gate is not cloud white. It's just factory finished, unfortunately. Safety first. So I just want to stop a second and just show you how lovely these doors look contrasting with your white trim. I'm always a fan of having the baseboards continue onto the frames to keep it a nice consistent line. So that's what's happening here with cloud white. As a default, it's usually good to keep your trims consistent throughout your entire home. The baseboards do continue throughout the house, so that's why we sort of decided to keep it the same. But then with your door colors, feel free to change it up more often. Go darker. You can even go this dark and it looks that good. So we have the first bedroom. This is the youngest boy, his room. What we have here is gray owl on the walls. So just a bit closer towards grayish, which is great because you do have the warmth in the floor as well. So that does tie in really nicely. But the continuing theme of cloud white and Black Beauty does continue into the room. We have an accent wall at the back, and this is black pepper, which is actually not really black. It's closer to a cooler slate gray. So it does have a blue undertone as well, which we can see is also tying into the lampshade here. So there is that sort of connection going on. Bedroom accent walls are primarily going to be behind the headboard. This is the frame that you're looking for. And we also talked about what we were gonna do about this bulkhead here. As you can see, it's kind of in an unusual configuration because this is a historic home. And what we decided was it's better to just paint this one panel to keep it nice and clean with its lines rather than trying to continue it up, because then we were thinking we'd have to go all the way around with the color. So when you're doing accent walls, try and find panels. Clean shapes, squares, rectangles. Try to avoid bulkheads whenever possible, just to keep everything nice and concise. Moving on to the Jack and Jill bathroom. This is a really great example of how a color can transform from one space to another because we are using white stone in here again, that cooler gray color we used downstairs. So this is a great example of how a color can change from one room to the next. Because when we used it downstairs, it really meshed really well and picked up on a lot of the warmer tones. And that's because of the flooring being wood rather than this beautiful earthy tile. There ended up being less natural light in here, which really created a beautiful, almost purple undertone that comes through, which I find very soothing and spa-like, which is perfect for a bathroom. So the look is different, but equally as nice. So it was really, really cool to see that sort of shift. And you gotta love the Edison light bulbs. I mean, come on guys, how amazing. The next bedroom, we have Gray Owl once again. Gray Owl tends to be a great color, especially in areas that do get some natural light. It's one of those modern grayish colors that are extremely popular because it's able to really work well no matter how warm your flooring is or how cool the fabrics you use are. It's a great Swiss Army knife grayish color that is popular for a good reason. And the accent wall here, sort of a similar situation. We have the bulkhead framing this wall. It's obviously a bunk bed, so there's obviously no headboard to feature, but this just seemed like the most natural spot for an accent wall, just to create some visual depth. The light coming from the window is really illuminating that beautiful blue, color being Hudson Bay. So that's what we decided to use. Hudson Bay just had more youth to it. It's a little more saturated in blue. And again, we have that beautiful, nice rectangle, very clear, very concise, and it really draws the eye. Now this isn't even paint related, but what a great way to sort of create an accent wall without paint. You get to showcase your beautiful family in this wonderful 3x3 grid. Love the giant matting too. I think that's a very, very cool aesthetic. I'm into it. More Edison bulbs. I'm a huge fan of them, not only for the look of them and the beautiful wiring, but also introducing that incandescent warm lighting. It just feels cozy to me. It's a warm, welcoming feeling. And the pot lights up top are more neutral white lighting. So you're getting the illumination and the actual lighting factor taken care of. But then you have this, which just creates a nice, comfortable, cozy atmosphere with that yellow tinted light. Laundry room upstairs, major key. We got a cool barn door there, Black Beauty. And finally, the master bedroom. Wow. So the master bedroom is a very personal space. It's really dependent on the owner's preference because this is your chambers. This is a representation of you. So what we decided to do was we went with an off-white that we didn't use anywhere else in the house. And that's because we wanted something that was calming. We wanted something that would go with this chair here. So we had to pick up on that ever so slight purple undertone that's found in the color called Calm. And that's what we used on the walls throughout the main areas of this bedroom. It just has that subtle, luxurious purple gray touch in here that creates a very relaxed feel, even though it's an off-white. It's bright, but it's not anything close to stark. So you're not gonna wake up and be blinded by your own walls. And then of course we have this accent wall. We have Brewster Gray once again. So the same color we used in the dining room, we created a connection from upstairs and downstairs. And then we have this beautiful color that picks up the blues and the pillows as well. What we were considering was, do we continue the color up the ceiling? And then we quickly decided not to do it. The main reason for that being the pot lights. So the pot lights being up there kind of signifies visually that that's the ceiling, so keep it the ceiling color. And what's really nice is it ends up drawing your eye up towards the ceiling, and then visually you're just in awe of this amazing sized room, high ceilings. It's a beautiful combination of being as open as you can be, but still really comforting and serene. Speaking of serene, we now have my favorite room in this entire house, the master bathroom. I mean, what can you say? We have the freestanding tub, the largest shower I've ever seen, and a familiar face on the walls, white stone and cloud white. The connection is complete. We have white stone in both upstairs bathrooms and downstairs. So you get to see it a couple times throughout the home, and that's a really great way to create a nice flow throughout your entire design. You have that color that keeps popping up, you get to revisit it in different environments, and what an environment we're in right now. This is just absolutely great. If there are any colors you want more information on, let us know down below, and if you like this type of content, like the video for us. Here's a video on classic gray, one of my go-to all over the house colors, even though we just used it in the powder room here. But it's one of my favorites, so go check it out.